All right, gather round, history buffs, economics enthusiasts, and immigration experts. Welcome back to Alternatify, where we twist the threads of reality and see what unravels. I'm your host, and today we're diving headfirst into a scenario that could reshape the very landscape of American innovation and industry, forcing us to confront the true value of talent. Ever wondered what would happen if the price of talent suddenly skyrocketed? What if the H1B visa, the golden ticket for skilled workers seeking opportunity in the US, came with a hefty $100,000 price tag per employee? This isn't just a hypothetical. It's a thought experiment designed to probe the very foundations of American economic dynamism. Would it cripple Silicon Valley, the undisputed global hub of technological advancement? Would it spark a new, perhaps more resilient wave of American innovation from within? Or would it simply accelerate a global rebalancing of power, shifting technological leadership to other nations? That's the profound question we're tackling today. We'll explore the potential ripple effects on the US economy, the tech industry, and even the lives of everyday Americans, from the C-suite to the classroom. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild, speculative ride into a future that might be closer than we think. To understand the potential impact of such a drastic change, we need to understand the H1B visa itself. For decades, it has been a cornerstone of the American tech boom, a vital artery allowing companies to bring in specialized talent from around the globe. Engineers, programmers, scientists, these are the people who have fueled innovation, driven economic growth, and often built entirely new industries. Historically, the US has always been a magnet for global talent, a land where ingenuity could flourish regardless of origin. The H1B program, despite its controversies, has largely continued this tradition, enabling a vibrant exchange of ideas and expertise. It's a system that has, for better or worse, become deeply intertwined with the narrative of American exceptionalism in technology. But what if that access, that historical advantage, suddenly became incredibly expensive? What if every H1B visa cost a company a staggering $100,000? This isn't just an administrative fee, it's a strategic investment, a barrier, and potentially a catalyst for profound change. Let's paint a vivid picture. Imagine you're a tech CEO in 2025, leading a burgeoning AI startup. You desperately need to fill a critical role, a specialist in quantum computing, a cybersecurity expert with unique insights, or a cutting-edge software developer for a proprietary algorithm. You've scoured the American talent pool, but the perfect candidate, the one who could truly accelerate your company's trajectory, is overseas, eager to contribute to your success. Now, instead of the standard visa fees, you're facing a $100,000 bill per employee. This isn't just a line item. It's a significant investment, a decision that could impact your bottom line, your entire hiring strategy, and even your company's long-term viability. This financial hurdle forces a complete re-evaluation of talent acquisition. So what happens next in this alternate reality? Let's break down the immediate and cascading effects. The most immediate effect would be a sharp, undeniable decline in H1B visa applications. Companies, especially smaller ones and startups, would be forced to re-evaluate their hiring needs and explore alternative, often less optimal solutions. This isn't just about cost, it's about a fundamental shift in how talent is valued and acquired. Companies would likely reserve H1B visas for only the most critical, specialized roles. These would be positions that absolutely cannot be filled by domestic talent, where the foreign candidate brings truly unique, indispensable skills. Think of it as a premium talent strategy, where only the absolute elite are considered worth the exorbitant investment. The selection process would become even more rigorous, almost brutally so. Companies would demand impeccable credentials, a proven track record of success, and a clear, quantifiable return on investment for that $100,000 visa fee. Every hire would be scrutinized under a microscope, transforming recruitment into a high-stakes gamble. Some companies, facing these prohibitive costs, might opt to outsource projects to overseas firms, avoiding the H1B visa altogether. This could lead to a significant growth in the offshore development market, particularly in countries with strong tech talent pools like India, Vietnam, or Eastern Europe. The global talent market would reconfigure itself rapidly. Perhaps most dramatically, companies might consider opening offices or relocating entire divisions to countries with more favorable immigration policies. Canada, with its proactive tech immigration programs, would likely become an even more attractive destination, siphoning off talent and investment that once flowed to the US. This could lead to a brain drain from the US as both companies and individuals seek greener pastures. The impact on the tech industry would be profound. Silicon Valley, the heart of American innovation, would feel an acute pinch, potentially losing its competitive edge. Startups and smaller companies, often the engines of disruptive innovation, might struggle immensely to compete with larger corporations that can absorb the higher visa costs. This could stifle the very entrepreneurial spirit that defines the region. The influx of foreign talent has historically been a key driver of innovation in the US, bringing diverse perspectives and specialized knowledge. A significant reduction in H1B visas could lead to a noticeable slowdown in technological advancements as the cross-pollination of ideas diminishes. The pace of discovery and development might decelerate, impacting global leadership. With fewer H1B visas available, the demand for American engineers, programmers, and scientists would undoubtedly skyrocket. This could lead to higher salaries and increased job opportunities for US citizens, a potential silver lining for the domestic workforce. However, it also raises questions about whether the existing domestic talent pool can truly meet the demand in terms of quantity and specialized skills. The increased demand for domestic talent could spur greater investment in STEM education in the US. Universities and vocational schools might see a surge in enrollment, driven by the promise of lucrative careers. This could be a long-term positive, but educational pipelines take years, even decades, to mature. Companies might also explore alternative talent pools with renewed vigor. This could include veterans transitioning to civilian careers, individuals with disabilities, and workers from underrepresented communities. This shift could lead to a more diverse and inclusive workforce, fostering new perspectives and untapped potential within the American labor market. The high cost of H1B visas could incentivize companies to move jobs away from expensive coastal cities like San Francisco and New York. More affordable locations in the Midwest or the South, with lower operating costs and a growing talent base, might become new tech hubs. This geographic redistribution could revitalize struggling regional economies, but also disrupt established tech ecosystems. Industries heavily reliant on H1B visas, such as healthcare and finance, would also be significantly affected. Hospitals might struggle to fill critical positions for specialized doctors and nurses, exacerbating existing shortages and impacting patient care. Financial institutions might face challenges in recruiting specialized analysts and quantitative experts, potentially hindering their global competitiveness. The healthcare sector, often overlooked in H1B discussions, relies heavily on foreign-trained professionals. A $100,000 visa fee could exacerbate existing shortages of doctors, nurses, and medical researchers, particularly in rural and underserved areas. This could lead to longer wait times for patients and a decline in the quality of care, impacting public health outcomes. The financial industry, a global powerhouse, also depends on H1B visas to recruit specialized analysts, quants, and IT professionals. The higher cost of visas could lead to a decline in innovation and competitiveness within this sector, as firms struggle to access the best global minds. This could have cascading effects on global financial markets and investment. Academia, the bedrock of future innovation, would also face immense challenges. Universities and research institutions rely on H1B visas to attract top researchers and professors from around the world, fostering cutting-edge discovery. A $100,000 visa fee could make it significantly more difficult for US universities to compete with institutions in other countries, leading to a decline in research output and academic prestige. Even the manufacturing sector, often associated with blue-collar labor, relies on skilled foreign workers, particularly in specialized areas like advanced engineering and robotics. The higher cost of visas could hinder efforts to revitalize American manufacturing, making it harder to adopt new technologies and compete globally. This could undermine national efforts to reshore production and strengthen industrial bases. But it's not all doom and gloom in this speculative future. There could be some unexpected, even transformative benefits. The increased demand for American talent could lead to higher wages and better working conditions for US workers. It could also incentivize more Americans to pursue careers in STEM fields, seeing a clear path to economic prosperity. This could foster a new generation of domestic innovators and specialists. Companies might invest significantly more in training and development programs for their existing employees. Upskilling their workforce to meet the demands of the changing job market would become a strategic imperative, fostering a culture of continuous learning and internal growth. This could lead to a more skilled and adaptable domestic labor force. Some talented foreign workers, unable to obtain H1B visas due to the prohibitive cost, might choose to start their own companies in the US. This entrepreneurial boom, fueled by necessity and ingenuity, could create new jobs and drive innovation from unexpected corners. These visa refugees could become the next generation of American business leaders. Companies might accelerate their adoption of automation technologies to reduce their reliance on human labor, both domestic and foreign. This could lead to increased productivity and efficiency across various sectors, pushing the boundaries of what machines can achieve. However, this also raises questions about job displacement and the future of work. The higher cost of skilled labor, coupled with automation, could make it more attractive to bring manufacturing jobs back to the US. This reshoring of production could boost the domestic economy, create new jobs, and strengthen national supply chains. It could be a significant step towards economic self-reliance. A reduction in the tech industry's dominance, or at least a rebalancing of its talent acquisition strategies, could lead to a more diversified economy. Other sectors, previously overshadowed, might experience renewed growth and innovation, fostering a broader base of economic strength. This could lead to a more resilient and less concentrated national economy. It's easy to get lost in the economic data and the policy debates, but we can't forget the human stories behind the numbers. These are real people with dreams, aspirations, and families who are profoundly affected by these decisions. The higher cost of H1B visas could make it significantly more difficult for immigrant families to reunite in the US. Spouses and children might be forced to remain overseas, creating immense emotional and financial hardship. The human toll of such a policy would be immeasurable, tearing at the fabric of families. A significant brain drain could occur, as talented foreign workers choose to take their skills and expertise to other countries with more welcoming immigration policies. The US would be deprived of their contributions, their innovative ideas, and their entrepreneurial spirit, diminishing its global standing. This loss of human capital would be a long-term detriment. The reduced number of H1B visas could lead to increased competition for jobs among both domestic and foreign workers already in the US. This heightened competition could potentially drive down wages in some sectors, creating a more precarious labor market for everyone. The economic benefits for domestic workers might be offset by increased competition. The high cost of H1B visas could raise serious ethical concerns about fairness and access to opportunity. Some might argue that it creates a system that overtly favors wealthy companies and individuals, effectively pricing out smaller businesses and less affluent yet equally talented individuals. This could be seen as an affront to the American ideal of meritocracy. For many aspiring immigrants, the H1B visa represents a tangible chance to achieve the American dream, a life of opportunity, prosperity, and contribution. A $100,000 price tag could put that dream out of reach for countless individuals, extinguishing hope, and forcing them to seek their fortunes elsewhere. This would be a profound loss of potential. A $100,000 visa fee could inadvertently create a black market for H1B visas, with unscrupulous individuals and organizations exploiting the system for profit. This could lead to increased fraud, exploitation of workers, and a general undermining of immigration laws. The law of unintended consequences often finds a way. The higher cost of visas could also lead to subtle or even overt discrimination against certain nationalities or ethnic groups. Companies might be more likely to hire workers from countries with lower wage expectations or those perceived as less risky investments, rather than focusing purely on merit. This could perpetuate biases within the hiring process. A decline in H1B visa applications could lead to reduced tax revenue for the government. Fewer foreign workers would be paying income taxes, social security, and other contributions, impacting federal and state budgets. This economic leakage could offset any perceived benefits of reduced H1B numbers. While automation can increase productivity, an over-reliance on it, spurred by high visa costs, could lead to significant job displacement for both domestic and foreign workers. This could exacerbate income inequality and create a larger segment of the population struggling to find meaningful employment. The societal costs of rapid, forced automation are considerable. Silicon Valley braces for impact as H1B visa costs skyrocket. A report on the initial shockwaves felt by the tech industry, detailing mass layoffs and hiring freezes at smaller firms. Analysts predict a 30% reduction in foreign tech talent acquisition within the first year. Midwest cities see tech boom as companies relocate. An analysis of the geographic shift in tech jobs, with cities like Austin, Nashville, and even Omaha reporting significant increases in tech company investments and job creation. Local governments offer incentives to attract these new employers. American universities invest in STEM education to meet demand. A look at the response from the education sector, with federal grants pouring into STEM programs and community colleges offering accelerated tech boot camps. Enrollment in computer science and engineering programs sees unprecedented growth. Immigrant families torn apart by visa restrictions. A heartbreaking story about the human cost of the policy change, featuring interviews with families separated by borders, unable to afford the new visa fees. Advocacy groups decry the humanitarian crisis. New startup emerges from H1B visa rejection. A tale of resilience and entrepreneurial spirit, highlighting a group of foreign engineers who, denied H1B visas, pooled resources to launch their own successful AI firm, creating new jobs for Americans. Debate rages over fairness of H1B visa system. A summary of the ongoing ethical and political debate, with economists divided on the long-term benefits versus the immediate economic and social costs. Public opinion remains sharply polarized. So what does all this mean for the future of the United States? In the long run, the US might become less reliant on foreign talent and more focused on developing its own workforce. This could lead to a more self-reliant, resilient, and sustainable economy, less susceptible to global talent market fluctuations. It's a vision of national self-sufficiency, but at what cost? However, the US might also lose some of its competitive edge in the global tech market. As other countries attract more skilled workers and companies, the center of gravity for innovation could shift. This could lead to a significant rebalancing of global power dynamics, with the US potentially ceding its technological leadership. The focus on alternative talent pools could lead to a more diverse and inclusive workforce, with opportunities for individuals from all backgrounds. This could unlock untapped potential within the US, fostering a more equitable and representative labor market. It's a vision of social progress driven by economic necessity. The increased adoption of automation technologies could lead to a more automated society, with robots and AI playing a larger role in the economy. This could bring unprecedented productivity gains, but also profound societal challenges related to employment and the nature of work. The future could be one of advanced machines and fewer human jobs. Ultimately, the long-term implications of this policy change are profoundly uncertain. It could lead to both positive and negative outcomes, depending on how the US adapts to the new reality, how quickly its domestic talent pipeline can respond, and how other nations react. It's a gamble with high stakes for the nation's future. This thought experiment forces us to confront a fundamental philosophical question. What is the true value of talent? Is talent merely a commodity to be bought and sold, its price dictated by market forces and policy decisions? Or is it a human right to be nurtured and shared, a universal resource that benefits all of humanity? This scenario challenges our economic and ethical frameworks. What is the responsibility of a nation to its own citizens to ensure their employment and prosperity? And what is its responsibility to the global community to foster innovation and progress that transcends borders? These are not easy questions, and the answers are often deeply intertwined with national identity and global aspirations. These are the profound questions that this scenario forces us to confront. There are no easy answers, no simple solutions, but they are questions worth asking, worth debating, and worth speculating upon as we consider the future of our interconnected world. It's crucial to consider how other nations approach skilled immigration. Countries like Canada, Australia, and Germany have actively streamlined their immigration processes to attract tech talent, often offering clearer pathways to permanent residency. Their policies stand in stark contrast to a hypothetical $100,000 H-1B fee. The global competition for talent is fierce, a silent war for human capital. Factors like economic opportunities, political stability, quality of life, and ease of immigration all play a role in attracting the world's brightest minds. A prohibitive H-1B cost would undoubtedly put the US at a significant disadvantage in this global race. The scenario of a $100,000 H-1B visa would undoubtedly accelerate the adoption of automation. Companies would invest heavily in AI, robotics, and machine learning to reduce reliance on expensive human labor. This would impact jobs across various sectors, not just tech. Jobs most vulnerable to automation include repetitive tasks, data entry, customer service, and even some analytical roles. The skills workers will need to adapt to this changing job market will shift towards creativity, critical thinking, complex problem-solving, and emotional intelligence, areas where humans still excel. The role of government in supporting workers displaced by automation becomes paramount. This includes robust investment in retraining programs, universal basic income discussions, and social safety nets. The ethical implications of widespread automation, such as bias in algorithms and accountability for AI decisions, would also come to the forefront. The factors contributing to brain drain are complex, but a $100,000 visa fee would be a powerful catalyst. Economic opportunities elsewhere, more welcoming immigration policies, and a perception of greater social mobility would draw talent away from the US. This isn't just about individuals, it's about the collective loss of innovative capacity. The impact of brain drain on developing countries, ironically, could be mitigated if their skilled workers, unable to enter the US, return home to build their own economies. However, for the US, it would mean a significant loss of human capital, hindering economic development and technological leadership. Strategies for reversing brain drain would become a national priority. This would involve creating more attractive economic opportunities within the US, improving the overall quality of life, and fostering a more supportive environment for innovation and entrepreneurship. It would require a fundamental re-evaluation of national priorities. The importance of STEM education would be amplified in this new reality. Preparing students for the jobs of the future, particularly in advanced technology and engineering, would become a critical national security and economic imperative. Investment in STEM would need to be unprecedented. The role of vocational training would also see a resurgence. Providing workers with the practical skills they need to succeed in trades and technical professions, often overlooked, would be vital. This includes training for advanced manufacturing, robotics maintenance, and specialized technical support roles. The need for lifelong learning would become non-negotiable in a rapidly changing world. Workers would constantly need to upskill and reskill to remain relevant. Government programs, corporate initiatives, and individual responsibility would all play a part in fostering a culture of continuous education. Some might argue that H-1B visas suppress wages for American workers. However, economic data often suggests that foreign skilled workers complement, rather than replace, domestic talent, filling critical gaps and driving overall economic growth. The argument for wage suppression is often more complex than it appears. Concerns about H-1B visas displacing American workers are also frequently raised. Yet studies often show that H-1B workers contribute to job creation by enabling companies to expand and innovate, leading to more jobs for everyone. The narrative of displacement often oversimplifies a nuanced economic reality. Finally, concerns about national security risks associated with H-1B visas are valid, but often addressed through rigorous vetting procedures and security protocols. The benefits of attracting global talent, when managed effectively, often outweigh the perceived risks. A balanced approach is key. So there you have it. A glimpse into a possible future where the price of talent has skyrocketed. It's a scenario that's both fascinating and unsettling, a reminder that even seemingly small policy changes can have profound, cascading consequences. This isn't just about economics, it's about the soul of a nation and its place in the world. Ultimately, the impact of a $100,000 H-1B visa would depend on a complex interplay of factors: government policies, corporate strategies, and individual choices. It's a scenario with both immense risks and transformative opportunities, a challenge that could reshape the very fabric of American society, for better or for worse. Now, I want to hear from you, our insightful audience of history buffs, economics enthusiasts, and immigration experts. What do you think would be the biggest impact of a $100,000 H-1B visa? Would it cripple the US economy, or would it spark a new, more resilient wave of American innovation? Share your thoughts, your historical parallels, your economic models, and your immigration policy insights in the comments below. Let's dissect this hypothetical future together. And if you found this thought-provoking exploration engaging, please give it a like and subscribe to Alternatify for more deep dives into alternative histories and speculative futures. Don't forget to share this video with your friends who are interested in technology, economics, and the future of work. Also, what other what-if scenarios would you like me to explore? Let me know in the comments. Your ideas fuel our next journey into the unknown. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.